Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. One interpretation of the Second Amendment is that it guarantees the individual's right to keep and bear arms, and any legislative bodies or regulations that impede this are rightfully unconstitutional. The other interpretation is that the intentions of the framers was to protect the state's right to self-defense from being infringed. They believe that this was hinted when the framers wrote a well-regulated militia. This collective theory states that no citizens have an individual right to bear arms, and the federal legislative bodies have the power to install regulations that do not violate this amendment. I believe that the Second Amendment was meant to protect both the individual and collective right, but because the collective theory demonstrates the importance for security reasons, I believe this was their priority. And when the individual's right may not ensure this regulations are necessary. This is what I feel the framers felt to be constitutional. On December 1791 was when the Second Amendment was ratified. James Madison originally proposed the Second Amendment shortly after the Constitution was officially ratified. This was a way to provide more power to state militias, which today are now considered the National Guard. There was not much opposition at the time.
The historical content of the time period was that 1783 the Revolutionary War officially ends with the Treaty of Paris. 1787 the Constitution is adopted by the Constitutional Convention. 1789 George Washington becomes the first President of the United States. 1791 the Bill of Rights is added to the Constitution as the first 10 amendments.
In the court case United States v. Miller in 1931, it demonstrates how the amendment took the collective rights theory of not having the shotgun have a reasonable relationship to the preservation or efficiency of a well-regulated militia. The court believed that the Second Amendment was instituted by the framers in order to have a more effective military. In another court case, McDonald's v. the City of Chicago, in this case, the Chicago handgun ban that was removed on the basis of the 14th Amendment, which had stated that guns can be used for self-defense. This strengthened the Second Amendment and had proved the individual rights theory.
A Supreme Court case related to the Second Amendment will be the District of Columbia v. Heller. This was a Supreme Court case where it made carrying unregistered firearms illegal. It has also prohibited handguns from being registered. Heller was a police officer who applied for a licensed handgun to keep at home instead of only on duty. His application was denied, leading to Heller suing the District of Columbia and accusing them of violating his Second Amendment. As a result of the Supreme Court case, it was found that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to have a firearm without having to be in a militia. The Second Amendment has had a great impact on our society by allowing citizens to be able to register for a firearm license. This has allowed more citizens to be able to have a firearm for self-defense. Some citizens feel more secure by having the Second Amendment in place, but others tend to feel more threatened and endangered because of it. The Second Amendment has impacted how Americans view gun control, and the amendment has also raised questions on what should or should not be banned today. The amendment has strengthened American democracy by giving power to the people by allowing them to own firearms. This makes citizens have power to protect themselves, not only giving power to those in a militia.